What am I going to do? Without him, they play as lousy as they do with him. It doesn't matter. At this point in time, Cap, he's just not good.
Well, Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic predicted the National League All-Star roster, and he left Seiya Suzuki off of the All-Star roster. Shohei Ohtani is the starter. He was the NL's leading vote getter, so he is already cemented. He will start the All-Star game at designated hitter. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. That would have happened regardless if he was the leading vote getter or not. Rosenthal predicted Kyle Schwarber as the only other DH to make the team. Suzuki trails both Schwarber and Rafael Devers in wins above replacement in OPS, but he's been awesome. And I think a little bit of an unsung hero for this Cubs team. As much as we've talked about Kyle Tucker and PCA, Seiya's been having an incredible season that feels like has gone under the radar. Shot or no shot, Seiya Suzuki should make the All-Star team.
That's a shot. He's had a heck of a year. He's already had a career high in home runs. And it's July 1st when he hit the 23rd. He's one of the best RBI men in the game, and he's a dangerous, dangerous man at the plate. Yes, he should be an All-Star.
So not the beer league softball player, Kyle Schwarber.
I didn't say that.
That's what I'm asking. That's a direct question.
Put him on too, then. I simply was asked by the moderator, should Seiya be an All-Star? Yes.
Yes, but what about Schwarber? What if it came down to those two? Seiya's probably having the better year, wouldn't you say?
I'd have to look at Schwarber's number. What's he hitting, $189 with 28 bombs?
I didn't ask you about Pete Incaviglia. I asked you about Kyle Schwarber.
I'm kidding.
Schwarber's hitting 250
with 25,
OPS.
57, and 77 hits.
There we go.
And
so I would say for me, Shay, I think it should be Seiya. Seiya should be the All-Star.
Okay, OPS plus for Schwarber is 150. That is really, really good.
142 for Seiya.
So Seiya has 2 less home runs. I think he has more RBIs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 13 more.
So it's close. It's close. 258. He's got an 8-point advantage at the batting average. 23, 70, and 84 hits. So he's got more hits, more RBIs, 2 less home runs.
If he gets left off for Kyle Schwarber, will you be angry about it?
No, because Schwarber's a hell of a player.
If he gets left off for Rafael Devers, will you be angry?
Yes, furious.
I think that Seiya should be able to be on this All-Star team. I just think that, as you just laid out, we've talked about a lot of different things with the Cubs, Shay, of even players that are not on the Cubs. But Seiya is a guy, and for whatever reason, we're not talking enough about him. That's All-Star numbers that we see from him. There's no doubt.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, an 858 OPS in 2025 is fantastic.
I mean,
he's just been steady Eddie, I think, is part of it, too. And now he's heating up. He's hitting more homers. Like I was texting in the group chat the other day, I kind of felt like as much as I've been the PCA 40-40 guy, if I had to choose who finishes, and obviously now Seiya's ahead, but if I had to choose who finishes with more home runs, Seiya.
Yeah.
He feels like a true right-handed power hitter.
Awfully quick.
I'm not off the 44. Like, I think Seiya could hit 45 this year. He's really heated up.
I'm not talking about Seiya. I'm talking about Pete Core Armstrong, who you kept saying when I told you a friend of mine said, tell Shay I'm all in as much as he wants to bet. And you go, good. Give me his phone number. Boy, you've changed your tune.
Damn.
He never gave me his phone number. I would have made the bet. I'd be losing money. But then again, Pete could hit 2 home runs today and be right back on track.
That's baseball, pal.
It is.
You never know.
You never know.
Tell him, Shay. It's a long season. Anything could happen. That long, especially with the schedule getting softer for the Cubs, as we've been seeing.
He went 18 games without a home run and still has 21 before the All-Star break.
Yes, and I think he's going to be somewhere in the 30s. I don't think he's getting to 40.
Here's Shay Norling.
John Morosi reported that the White Sox have been holding out for a return to production for Luis Robert, but landing on the 10-day injured list with yet another lower body injury has effectively ended any hope of him being traded at the deadline. With Adrian Hauser now the main piece that the White Sox will try to move on from, they're going to be stuck with Luis Robert. Robert has club options worth $20 million the next 2 years. Those will not be picked up. No. So, shot or no shot. When Luis Robert comes off the injured list, he will be DFA'd.
Wow, DFA'd.
It's a lot of money, brother. Let me tell you.
Well, it's a sunk cost.
So, well, here's the thing. I would not blink. This could be breaking news on this show. I would have no problem with them DFAing Luis Robert. What am I going to do? Without him, they play as lousy as they do with him. It doesn't matter. At this point in time, Cap, he's just not good.
Like, you can't give him a qualifying offer. You're not going to pick up his option. It's like, that'll be all.
You know what? And you know how much I love the White Sox. But I'm not attached to any one player, and that includes Luis Robert. Luis Robert reminds me of what was bad about the White Sox, often injured and underachieving. Talking about Yohan Moncada and Aloy.
Like, he's a more athletic Aloy.
No, but the point is, like, I'm not attached to any of those guys. I want to be done with that era. Wipe it off the map and start over. That's what the Sox are doing anyway. So if we got that news, I would not blink. I get it. He's not a productive player anymore. Now, maybe in a different uniform, he will find the magic. He's just not doing it with the White Sox. Just not doing it. So just keep moving. I was happy to see Brooks Baldwin out there, the reformed infielder, playing center field last night. That's fine.
Yeah, La Pantera is cooling right now.
Sucks.
When it's just
It's fine. That's a strong question you asked.
Now that you're not going to be able to trade him, you can have him on the 26-man roster and play out the string because you're going to lose him for nothing regardless. You're not picking up the option, and rehabilitating him is a lost cause at this point.
Do you know the balls by the White Sox to bench him at times? Like, I think previous management wouldn't have done that. I'm talking about Pedro. To have him just sit like, yeah, you're not playing. You can't see the ball. You're going to take 2 or 3 days off. I don't think that happens under Pedro. But you could tell that there's support from the White Sox, from Getz all the way down to the manager. Yeah, you know what? He's a minus player in your lineup. Sit him out. That says something. That's strong.
And I think, honestly, just they'll get rid of him. Like, you are going to lose him for nothing regardless. You're not going to keep him on the 26-man roster and keep somebody else off of it just to play out the string on his $7 million that he's owed. Just have a good day. Hopefully somebody picks you up and makes something out of you, but it's not our problem anymore.
Shay, I don't know how much you watch the MLB Network, but they have these pre-rolls from the beginning of the season to promote each team. Like, I saw the other day, I'm sure they produced it in February. You know, watch out for this Rockies team. You know, they got some good young talent, McMahon, and they're showing highlights. They did the same thing with the White Sox. Like, it's just Robert, right? It's just like Luis Robert, man, destined for 35, 40 bombs this year. He is the guy that – and I'm just laughing. I'm like, it's July. It's an old film, but they're promoting each team, and they're promoting Luis Robert. Like, they need to take that off of the rack. Take that off of the reel, because that's not real. He's not hitting 30 home runs probably ever again. That's a strong question, but I would have no problem if that was breaking news this morning, Cap, because the Sox are sitting him.
But he's not
a
bad guy. He's well liked in there. If he was like a bad dude on top of it, you'd be like, all right, that'll be all.
But they can't DFA him while he's on the IL, right? He has to be active to be DFA'd.
Correct.
I don't know the answer.
I believe
to
that's
that.
correct.
I am not going to tell you I know when I don't know.
Because while he's on IL, he's off the 40-man. So it's not like it doesn't matter. It doesn't impact you any way or the other. I imagine they'll let him get healthy in rehab and then give him his walking orders.
I think you're still on the 40-man unless you're on the 60-day IL.
I think 10-day IL puts you off the 40-man. But I
have no idea. All I know is that I'm done with that previous era, and Luis Robert is the last of that previous era. I'm good with moving on.
If they could DFA, I think they will DFA him. Like that, it's going to happen.
It's just not productive, Cap. Why should he be on the team? Shay?
All right. I am a little miffed by the winter sports teams in this town. The Bulls offseason so far has been Lonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro and bringing back Trey Jones. Drop the confetti on that. Casey Johnson reported yesterday he has heard zero traction on the much-rumored Jonathan Kuminga sign-and trade. So now the big rumor is flipping Nikola Vucevic in a deal for Anthony Simons with the Celtics. Wonderful. Can kind of say the same for the Blackhawks, who decide to continue playing the long game instead of weaponizing any of their first-round picks. They made 3 more first-round picks, so 3 more high school to college-age players that you won't see until 2028. Just both teams spinning their wheels and doing next to nothing, to the point I wonder if people even care about winter sports in this town anymore. Shot or no shot, Chicago's biggest winter sport has become the NFL draft.
That's a shot because the Blackhawks and the Bulls are irrelevant. They stink.
For me, it's the Bears at the end of the season, because that's January now, into the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, it's the whole offseason.
Into the Super Bowl, into what the Bears could do in the draft.
And then baseball hot stove, at least for the
Baseball
Cubs.
hot
The Sox haven't been really active lately. Sorry.
What are you apologizing for?
I'm just being honest.
Well,
I know it's your favorite team.
So what are you apologizing for? Because you think I'm going to deck you for saying that?
I don't want you to be mad at me. It's just you guys don't
We guys don't do
use
what?
the debit card much. You don't shop at the top shelf. The bargain stuff is still there. Or the kids you bring up who look like they have some potential.
Okay, I don't need the pat on the head. just move on.
By the way, Shay, you have to be transferred to the 60-day IL to be off the 40-man.
Okay.
There you
so they could DFA him. That would be a terrible look on the organization to DFA a guy on the IL.
I don't think it would be. If they said, look, we wish him well, it hasn't worked here, we're moving on. Period.
I'm good with them turning the page, Shay, because, again, it talks about a woebegone era of underachievement.
How would you feel?
So I'm good with so that's the Moncadas, the Eloys, it's the Kopechs, all that stuff. You're moving on.
How would you feel if you could trade him for a lottery ticket, but I'm talking about like a player who's never going to make it? Would you rather do that? We traded him for some guy in rookie ball, or just DFA and make the statement and move on.
But you can DFA him and he has to clear waivers. So it's not like DFAing him just means you will lose him for nothing. If he doesn't clear waivers, then you can make a deal.
Fine, he'd be a fine Rocky. He would.
He would end up. It'd be like the Dodgers would pick him up.
Please.
Maybe he wants to come play some fourth outfield for the Cubby.
I think the Phillies would probably be somewhat interested, but they'd flip you nothing for
What
him.
about the Cubs for a fourth outfielder spot? He's good defensively. He is.
You'd be such a lazy general manager. Everything is just down the street. What about what they got down the street? I think you're done making deals with the White Sox, aren't you? As often as you've been fleeced?
We could have Panther night.
Okay. Well, Sosa was already there.
Yeah.
Sosa, the Panther, was already there. God, I loved him as a White Sox. He had a million chains around his neck. And boy, the cutoff man was a rumor with the White Sox. Right into the third base dugout every time.
He had a hell
Holy
of an
cow.
arm back.
Oh, he had a hose, yeah. But then right into the third base dugout, Cap. Shay, what about Sam Lafferty? That's what you're talking about with the Blackhawks, right? That was their latest move.
Terrific. They traded a 6th-round pick for him.
And
wonderful.
They have over $20 million in cap space.
They're building this incredible farm system while they sit on cap space and waste a generational talent, Connor Bedard. Fantastic.
When is he a free agent, Connor Bedard, when he can go, I'm out?
I only pray that they're like Cap likes to say, keep your powder dry. I pray they keep their powder dry and sign McDavid when he's a free agent next offseason. Like that, do something.
Yeah.
It's unreal. You keep kicking the can down the road. Like, Bedard is on the team now.
When is
Help
he a
him.
free agent?
What about Ryan Donato? Got a 4-year deal, eh? What? Wow. How about some quality around the kid? How about that? But I see Kyle Davidson up there striding to the mic.
Bedard is Jesus. Bedard's a restricted free agent after this season.
After this next coming season.
Yep. Wow. That's going to be awesome.
And then the next year after that, unrestricted.
Unless they sign him to a long-term deal.
I would.
Wow.
I'd be hiding. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't pick up the phone right now. Sorry.
You squandered a generational talent. Take that.
Yeah, congrats. You have one of the best farm systems in hockey. None of these guys can play pro hockey right now. You're wasting your best player right now.
Yeah.
They just drafted that high school kid who's going to Michigan State.
Isn't that stupid,
In the
by
first
the way?
round.
Yeah.
Trade
round.
up into the first round and blow a pick on a guy who's going to go play in college.
Well, that happens. They have the guys playing college, But that guy hasn't guaranteed that he's going
Right.
to stay with hockey because he's also a quarterback.
But that's my point. Why are you wasting assets going to get that kid when you could trade for an actual pro hockey player right now?
Well, maybe they have assured Kyle Davidson, who I like, maybe they have assured him we're all in on the hockey.
Oh, okay. That's enough of that rhetoric. That's not true. I think Kyle Davidson's talked to Jerry too much. That's the problem. Hey, Kyle. Good to see you. I just want you to know you're doing a great job. Continue to underwhelm, but they'll still come because it's hockey. They enjoy it. Don't worry about it. We're in last place, too.
Second.
I can't wait to watch Connor Bedard play in Sunrise, Florida in 2029 when we finally see all these kids the Blackhawks have drafted the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be great, Cap. So Kyle Davidson.
Yeah, that'll be when new GM Brad Marchand is running the Panthers.
Yes, to a championship.
Yeah.
Of course. Let me tell you something, Kyle. You're doing the right thing. You know, last place is not so bad. You know, it gives a carrot for the fan to chase.
Blackhawks.
So nobody really cares. Don't worry about it. You got look at the fans. You got what, 14, 15,000 in the barn? Pretty good. Yeah. You see me run the Bulls in here? Don't worry about it. Last place is fine. Just give them the little carrot just to follow.
The United Center, it's like a funeral home.